To even open the door to a subject as controversial as astrology, we need to tackle the 3 big eyebrow raisers for beginners first. These aren't problems, that beginners just don't have the experience to know how to recognize or handle yet. They're not actually problems at all. They're just such important steps in the learning process that we can't get away with skipping them. If we try to skip them, well, that's when we run into those, predictable problems. The first idea to investigate that feels so wrong to most beginners that it generally shuts down understanding is just the idea that there's always a simple and innocent explanation for everyone's behavior. Right? Even when it is not simple and innocent. I mean, what does that even mean anyway? It certainly doesn't feel that way, does it? Religions usually preach that only God can know someone's mind or heart. And of course, atheists don't think anyone can. The kind of people that actually believe they know what others are really thinking are either seriously deluded, some kind of expert, or telepathic. All of which are honestly a little scary, aren't they? I mean, who in their right mind is going to argue that anyone can learn to understand everyone easily? It's easy to mock and dismiss the possibility. Or maybe, just stay long enough to see if your suspicions are correct. But it's always easy to prove yourself right, no matter what you happen to think or what the truth might happen to be. Many would argue that we can't help but mix facts with our beliefs. When others don't agree with our suspicions, it's easy to become convinced it's because they're actually true. That others just can't or won't admit the truth. It can be easy to hold others responsible for how things feel to us. But discernment is calm, suspicion is anxious. If fear is leading, wisdom is not. So take a breath if this is you. Bias honestly feels like wisdom because it actually is protecting you. I mean, yes, it only thinks it's protecting you, even though there's really nothing it gets right. That too is a fact. But it is also actually doing some good. There is absolutely nothing pointless in nature. Everything has a healthy purpose. Bias isn't invalid just because it's honestly based on our fears rather than the reality of what others do. It's just a different kind of communication. You are getting a glimpse of filters that are changing what reality looks like to you without scaring you by taking your defenses down to do it. So relax, you're safe and you're getting a private helping hand. Let yourself have your reaction so you can identify that fear. When we have the courage to make friends with our bad feelings, that's when we can actually let them go and move on. Just remember, this is not about convincing you to switch beliefs so you can try something new. I mean, it is true that we experience whatever we believe, but requiring belief is still a red flag for good reason. Truth does not mind being investigated. I mean, you're the only one who gets hurt to miss or disbelieve it, aren't you? There's just no way you even can consider what you can't imagine is even possible. Bias is blinding. Behavior is simple. That just doesn't mean boring or easy to predict. In nature, the simpler something is, the harder it is to predict, not the easier. That's because in nature, simple isn't the opposite of complex. It's what builds it. Which is also why there is no such thing as a safe shortcut in nature. Instead of trying to make others follow ever more rules to try to make things happen the way we want, like civilized parents are tricked into doing, Mother Nature just gives us basic building blocks that can literally be used for anything. These are completely opposite learning styles. Natural law isn't nature's rules instead of civilization's. It's the opposite of rules entirely. Why do you think we're so surprised by the differences? This creates very opposite ways of cooperating, doesn't it? In fact, this is exactly what creates the so-called Great War between civilization and nature, or order and chaos, no matter which side you call good. But how are you going to call something a war when one of the sides is saying, hey, no problem, yours for you? Civilization spent 6,000 years waging war on nature, that's a fact. But nature views it more like a stage of growth we have to work through as we grow into all we can be. I mean, making mistakes is how we learn, isn't it? Cooperation is not chaos. There's just no need for rules. Life is so perfectly and elegantly simple that it creates endless diversity. You can't ever know what someone's going to do. Just because we can't pull off a stunt like that doesn't mean life is a fraud. And just because it might sound hard to find evidence of something that, well, let's face it, is basically invisible then, doesn't mean it is. And if you stop to think about it, there's enough evidence for people to keep talking about this throughout all of time, no matter how badly it got persecuted. It's just easy to quit instead of looking for it when there doesn't seem to be any point to learning something you don't see how to use anyway. Especially if you do take that much heat for it, right? I mean, why on earth would you waste the effort? First of all, it doesn't take effort. Nature rewards alignment, not effort. Effort is actually the most effective way to throw things out of alignment. When you feel your way, you learn how to cooperate with everything around you. But when you're told to ignore your body and you learn to force your way or demand anything of those around you, well, then only those who want to do what you do can even handle being around you. You attack everything different until you start attacking everything honestly, without even realizing it. Secondly, just because there's more to life than whatever we happen to believe doesn't mean we're limited by it. Not necessarily, anyway. Life is actually designed so you're only limited by whatever you choose to align with, which is not a limitation if you're choosing it. You know, the point to learning this stuff isn't to be able to predict what others will do so you can protect yourself better. It's to stop needing to worry about what others do at all. A different attitude literally creates a different physical reality, regardless of what anyone else does. It was never the world around us we needed to learn how to change. You know, peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. That's Einstein for those of you who are just listening. In nature, living things with a stable foundation get stronger and healthier the older they get, not weaker. People included. Namaste, my angel. I honor the whole you.